You're listening to the Morning Cruise Control with me, Senior Airman Kellen Carr. And right now, I have some special guests in the studio with me. Happy to have NBC's The Voice contestants. We got Rebecca Loebe and Lindsey Pavao. Now, it's good to have you ladies in this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to be here.
It's, how was the flight over all the way? I know you came from Austin.
I did. I came from
Rebecca,
Austin.
And Lindsey came from Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
How was the flight over?
Incredibly far.
Incredibly far? Had you made a trip like that before?
Not quite that far, no.
No, not that far.
Nope, not that far. Well, you guys are going to actually be performing tonight at the Tayo Community Center and Yokota at 6:30. And you're going to be doing a workshop as well, I understand. The singer-songwriter workshop the next day.
Saturday morning, yep.
Okay, well, we'll be talking about all of that and much more, getting to know you all a little better. You know, Rebecca was on the first season of The Voice, and Lindsey was on the second season. We'll be talking more with them about their experiences and where they come from, and also maybe getting a live performance. Can we get a little something?
Maybe so.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
All right, folks, stay tuned for more from these two. We got Fits and the Tantrums right here with The Walker. It's the Morning Cruise Control, Kellen here, and also with my two lovely guests, Rebecca Loebe from Season 1 of The Voice and Lindsey Pavao from Season 2. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
And,
Hello.
It's such a pleasure having you all in the studio here today, and I just want to talk to you about kind of like things that led up to you being on The Voice for, your fans out there, especially those who, actually, let's start out with the story about how you even got over here in the first place. Rebecca, that was a fantastic story, and the power of social media.
Well, I woke up this morning wondering, how did I get to Japan after all? And it all started last August when Lindsey and I were tweeting with one another. We had never met, but we shared the post-voice bond that a lot of the contestants have. So she had put it out there that she wanted to come to Austin, Texas, where I live, and play some gigs, and she was looking for recommendations for venues. So I responded with some ideas, and then out of nowhere, this lovely woman named Chelsea chimed into our conversation and said, "Oh my God, I loved you both in The Voice. You should totally go on tour together." And on a whim, I clicked on her picture just to get, some information about who she was before I wrote back. And I saw she lived in Tokyo. So I wrote back and said, "You're totally right. We should bring the tour to Tokyo. LOL, OMG, ha ha ha, emoticons forever." And she wrote back and said, "Yes, we actually love it when American musicians come perform on bass. Would you like the contact information for the people who coordinate that?" I said, as a matter of fact, I would.
And there you have it. And then, Lindsey, what was it like for you when Rebecca's like, you want to go to Tokyo for real?
Oh, man, it was just disbelief for me, yeah. But at the same time, that's kind of how it works with musicians. Like, we just randomly start connecting and building tours and doing all that kind of stuff. So it was amazing, yeah.
Definitely. And I know you both actually do quite a bit of traveling around, touring with your music and whatnot. So you said you were just actually in Kansas City not too long ago.
I was just in St. Louis. I was in Kansas City, Missouri
those are my
about 3
grounds.
weeks ago. And that was at the very end of mid-February. And since then, I've been to Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada, and all over Massachusetts and New York and Texas, and at the South by Southwest Music Conference.
And you said right now, Rebecca, you're actually calling, Austin, Texas home.
Yes.
But you typically it'd be Atlanta. You're from the Atlanta area.
That's where I grew up. Atlanta.
And then Lindsey, you're from Sacramento, California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. And so, how did growing up in the South, you growing up in the West Coast, Central Cali, like how did that influence your music style? So you go first.
I think I grew up in a very boring environment, and that was probably what it was. There really wasn't too much to do besides get into trouble or play music. And so that's what we did.
So you made the better choice.
Most of the time.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm saying the getting in trouble or playing music.
Yeah, yeah, I started playing violin when I was a kid and moved on to guitar, and I just had some amazing people in my life that opened my eyes to music and songwriting, and I always thought it was just a hobby, or that's kind of the background I came from. Music wasn't really the go-to career, but I had some life events that changed my mind about that.
Now, when you were on season 2, you actually did Say Ah, Trey Songz Say Ah as your audition song. Yeah. And CeeLo Green said that was like the coolest thing that had happened in season 2 up to that point. Mm-hmm. Because he just didn't expect that coming from you. Yeah. Why do you think you were able to just kind of wow people like that?
I don't know. I was afraid I was going to embarrass myself till the moment I was stepping on stage. I'm like, this is a terrible idea. But I remember going to one of the production offices and being like, I can't do this song. I know you guys think this, like, because I just remember they picked it out of a few songs that I had selected as my top, like, picks. I was very sleep deprived, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And he's like, oh, that's my favorite song, one of the production assistants. And I was like, okay, it's gonna happen. And the band was super supportive. It was really because everyone was so supportive that I think it was successful.
Most definitely. I mean, you even had Blake Shelton, who was like, you know, typically wouldn't even be for that necessarily that genre of music. He was even supportive of you. So there's like I saw a website. It was like 3 reasons why Lindsey Pavao should have won The Voice season 2. It was pretty cool right there. And Rebecca, you know, your choice was Come As You Are.
Yes.
You know, what made you choose Come As You Are? You're a folk pop singer, and why Come As You Are?
Well, as Lindsay alluded to, we were presented with a list of songs that we could choose from, and then we chose from the larger list songs that were our preferences, and then they worked with us to choose, you know, which song we would end up performing. And so when I selected Come As You Are as being one of my top choices, it was mostly because a lot of the songs on the list were terrible and things that I would never want to sing in public ever. And I like Come As You Are. I've known that song since I was a kid. It's a cool song. So I put it up there on my list, but I certainly didn't expect that it would be the song I did. I think Lindsay was in a similar position. But because it was so out of character for me as a folk singer, I think that interested them. So then they asked me to come do it at one of my final auditions. And I had this like, oh no moment where I realized I had to figure out an arrangement that would work for me. So I really clearly remember sitting down with my guitar on the kitchen floor of my dad's house in Atlanta, just with a laptop and, you know, a bunch of charts and pencils and capos and picks, and having to figure out how to make it work, how to make that song that I've known as like a grunge ballad anthem since I was a kid, how to turn that into sort of a spooky folk song. And what I came up with is what I took to my final audition, and then they asked me to do it live on TV, or not live, but with the band. And again, the band was incredibly supportive.
Is that right?
Incredible musicians, and they were very creatively generous. They let me bring in the arrangement of the song the way I wanted to do it and teach it to them. And these guys are monsters, incredible players, award winners. They don't need me teaching them anything, but they let me show it to them the way I wanted it done, and then they did it just as good or better. I mean, they nailed it. They were so great.
All right, Rebecca, you have the guitar in here, and
I do.
you know, you gonna strum something for us? Give us an idea of what we can look forward to tonight. The time
I would be happy to. You know, we were talking about the show, The Voice, and this is a song that I started writing the day that I auditioned, before I had any idea I would end up on the show. Just to explain to the people that I met, who are the casting directors, who I am and what I do. I have traveled many fathoms, lived inside a covered wagon, sold my secrets wholesale every night. I've broken bread with petty tyrants, smuggled wine to fallen giants, battled demons right before your eyes, and now I try oceanside to govern the rolling tide, swallowed by the sea, begging from the shore, tempted by the sweet roar. Maybe don't let me be swallowed by the sea. And if you want to hear any more, you're going to have to come out and hear us play tonight.
Hey, holy moly. Who needs to roll to a song? We got live music in the studio.